Hello! So today we're going to have a look at the JustFlight Turbo Arrow 3 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I think this is the third of the PA-28 or Piper Cherokee family that we've looked at in recent days, following the update to the entire family of aircraft from JustFlight. So in recent simulator versions they had all become a little bit broken. So it's nice to see that they've been updated, and we're going to go and take the Turbo Arrow 3 for a flight from Wycombe Air Park over to Oxford, or London Oxford I think it's called, otherwise known as Kidlington Airport. Why is it airfields have so many different names? Anyway, so you can see it's wonderfully modelled, and you can pan around the aeroplane, and the material modelling on it is really nice. So if we go and jump inside, it's broadly similar to the other PA-28s. There's a few differences. Obviously there's the turbo model, so it's got manifold pressure and the propeller RPM lever, and there's a few switch differences around the place, but otherwise it's broadly similar. Okay, so it has the same tablet as the other PA-28s, and in common with lots of the JustFlight aircraft actually. So you get aircraft state shortcuts, you get some consumable modelling that you can meddle with, you get some differences in the loadout that you can flick through. If you've got the GTN 750, it is an option that will appear. You can do state saving, which is quite interesting. You can also swap the HSI out for a direction indicator if you wish. We can remove the chocks and the tie downs, otherwise we won't go anywhere in a hurry. And it's all fairly straightforward. You've got SimBrief integration, which works quite nicely, so it will go and fetch your most recent operational flight plan if you are a SimBrief fan. It's got a moving map. I've shown all this before for the others, but I'll just quickly whiz through this. So it uses OpenTopo map for a moving map. It's got Navigraph chart integration, so obviously you can search for and pull up the plates if you want. We've already seen that aircraft page. You've got a text notepad there that you can key into. You've got checklists that broadly reflect the checklists that are in the sim as well. So if you go and quickly look in there, then it's all really nicely laid out, and you can click on the eyeball icon to look at any other things it's talking about. Other than that, we've got top of descent calculator and some basic settings about the simulation of the aircraft. You can make this disappear by clicking on this little switch on the dashboard, and then otherwise it's all pretty standard stuff. It's really nicely modelled though. It's almost like a photograph, isn't it, looking around? Well, I know they're based on photos, aren't they? Let's go and just check the weights before we do anything. So we're going to pull the fuel down to 50% in the aircraft, get rid of the co-pilot's weight out of the cockpit. Okay, let's go and get this thing started, shall we? So we'll go and turn the battery on, and you can see a light is flashing straight away. That relates to the automatic gear attraction system, which is down here. So we'll just disable that. We're not really interested in that today, although we may look at it later on if we go meddling with that, failures and causing things to go wrong on purpose. Okay, so we need to get this aeroplane up and running. So I have noticed if we turn the rotating beacon light on, it doesn't... Is it going to work this time? Let's get it in the dark so we can see it. Yeah, it's not working, look. What? You would imagine that should be on by now, and it's not. The other lights seem to be all fine, so if we turn the nav lights on, they have now come on, he says. They're not very easy to see when you're close to them. If we go and turn on the anti-collision lights, they should start blinking and lighting the ground up, which is quite cool. Yeah, you can see the reflection on the ground. We'll leave them running for the moment. Okay, so yeah, there seems to be a bit of a bug there with the rotating beacon light. Anyway, I should use my controller to do that, otherwise we'll have an accident. So I'll just put us onto a rich mixture. We'll go to full high RPM, sorry, on the propeller, and we'll crack the throttle open. We'll go and check we are using the left tank, and we will go and turn the engine over. Let's give it a bit more welly. and the revs are coming up. Drop it down to 1000 revs and OK the GPS. Let's just check the switches are on for things like the distance measuring equipment. The nav radio is on over here, although we will be using this one, I guess. If we use nav, we'll probably use GPS to make it nice and simple today. I've looked at nav radios on the other arrows, so it might be nice actually to do a GPS route. So we're going from EGTB, which is booker, enter, and we're going to go via, actually we'll put the vias in afterwards, then you see how we do that. So EGTK is Oxford Kidlington, and then so if I roll back over EGTK then put something in instead, it will push it down. So if I go Bensu, that will put in the first waypoint, and then I want to put in, I can't remember the name, Delbo, for the one that's just northeast of Oxford Airport. So let's go and key it. Instead of rolling it in, let's Delbo. Enter. So if we press flight plan again now and zoom out, we should see there's our entire route. It's only about a 20-mile trip, so it shouldn't take very long at all. We'll change the CDI to use GPS. We will change the course to reflect our takeoff direction initially, just so it makes a little bit of sense when we're looking at it. Wait, they're actually saying that we want to be flying 230 when we take off to follow the noise abatement out of Wycombe. So we'll do that with the marker. Oops, marker as well. I hate the acceleration on the gauges. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't work at all. So you can see we haven't got the alternator on, so let's go and turn the alternator on. And because of that we got the low voltage warning has lit up. So if we accelerate the engine a little bit, the low voltage will go out, look, because we're actually generating more than we're using. Okay, let's pull the engine back for a moment. I think we're pretty much ready to go. We need to calibrate the altimeter and check that the compass is aligned, and it is. On these digital ones it works. You don't have to align it, you don't have to check it against the binnacle compass. It will check it against the GPS system. Okay, I think we're pretty much ready to go. So, parking brake off. Obviously if we were doing a full workup of the aircraft we would be checking that the magnetos are working, so you know, advancing to probably 1500 revs and then toggling them on and off and watching the changes. But we're not going to be doing that today. On takeoff and climb out, below 12,000 feet, if we go above 40 on the manifold pressure, a warning light will come on, an overboost warning light. So below 12,000 feet, it's only a, it's not really a warning, it's just letting you know it's happening. There is an automatic wastegate valve on the turbo that will dump any pressure that is unusable. So it uses the exhaust gas from the engine to drive the turbo. And if you get too much pressure, it just expels it as waste. And that light will come on to tell you it's happening. Okay, so flaps are in takeoff position, so we are going to go full throttle, centre the view up, hold the centre line carefully, and rotate, and gear up. See, we've got the overboost happening at the moment, so I'm going to pull the throttle back a little bit at the moment. So we need to turn 230 now, just as we cross the boundary. So we're going to climb out beyond the normal traffic pattern immediately, so we're going to carry on this 230 direction until we're out somewhere near Bensu. So we'll go for 2,500 feet for our kind of cruise altitude, I guess. So let's pull that back so we're not getting the warning on the boost. There we go. So there we go, we've just climbed out through the normal pattern altitude. and we're carrying on in a straight line. So if we look outside, you can see there's the airfield behind us, and here's the Hambledon Valley. So there's the beast, as they call it, in the trees. Let's just make sure we're still going the right direction. We're starting to turn gently left. So I'm hand flying at the moment. Just coming up to 2,000 feet. So if we just have another quick look outside, there's the beast. So the normal traffic pattern would take us around here and then back down that way. But we're carrying on out. So here comes 2,500 feet. So just let the nose fall. And we can pull the propeller RPM back. Just trimming out slowly. And you'll see that a warning on the GPS appear in a moment that we haven't turned. So we could actually start turning towards the appropriate direction. Okay. So the next leg of the journey will light up sometime soon as we get close to the turning point. There we go, look, it's flashing saying turn right 324 degrees. So we can chase the direction we're actually facing. So we should be good. Should we have a play with the autopilot then now? So let's have a look. I'm just playing with the trim as well, trying to get this stable. Okay, so we put this on heading mode for the moment. So we'll trim this around. Whoa! The airplane started to roll while we're looking down here. This is one of the penalties of using a screen like this. So we want to be going... Oh, it's done it again, look. It suddenly accelerates. I don't like their acceleration code. Autopilot on, heading on, and then you use the selector here to... It's going to follow the heading we're on. If we click this area here, it's going to do altitude hold for us automatically. It's like a hidden click spot. You can roll the mouse wheel to influence kind of vertical speed mode, which doesn't obviously exist in the aeroplane. Okay, so we've got autopilot on, and we've got our secret squirrel altitude hold mode running as well. So let's go and switch over now to Omni mode. And the aircraft should track right onto the GPS track, which is good. Be interesting to see if it is also going to manage that vertical speed, because obviously the lift vector, yeah, it's done it, look, it's holding vertical speed. The lift vector would have changed as we banked. Fascinating. Okay, so in preparation for when we arrive over Oxford, we are going to go and have a look and turn on the glide slope here. We'll go in via the ILS. So we'll get to Delbo, then fly across, and just to pick up, you know, for a bit of fun, the frequency. So we probably only need 1,000 feet by the time we get to Delbo, or 1,000 feet above airfield level. So let's find out the elevation of Oxford. So we want the overview, 263 feet. So we want about 1,300 feet when we get to Delbo. 108.35, 191 degrees. So we'll at least get the nav radio tuned in. 108.35. Switch it to active. Obviously we're not going to use it yet, but it's picked up the signal straight away. It's got the ident from the station, which is good. If we move this onto the rows page, so the first page of the first page group on the GPS, we get this nice rows and you get the nice data around the outside of it. So we see there's 15 miles to run to the waypoint, estimated time en route, ground speed, direction of the track, our actual track. It's all good stuff, isn't it? Okay, so yeah, with a bit of luck, that should agree with, or be broadly similar, I should say, to that, yeah, because this is obviously going to the waypoint, this is to the airfield. Okay, so we're just looking down here. The manifold pressure is just underneath 40, so we're not wasting any of the exhaust gas. We've pulled the RPM back quite considerably. We could go faster if we wanted to. It's funny when you read the pilot operating handbook of some of these aeroplanes, when they say about cruise, they say feel free to, if you're not in a hurry, to just reduce RPM to make it quieter. Obviously, if you're flying to a schedule, then you might, you know, go get to the destination as fast as you can. There's a kind of an odd, I don't know, how would you put it? A comparison you could make between getting somewhere quickly and burning more fuel, or getting somewhere more slowly and burning less fuel, but you're in the air for longer, so you actually burn more fuel. It's like a circular formula. So finding the best cruise speed for the most efficient use of time for a given route is more complicated than it sounds. Okay, let's have a look outside. So lights are blinking away. There's this ongoing argument about the, I haven't got landing lights on, but for GA aircraft it's not such a thing. For commercial aircraft below 10,000 feet they would have the landing lights on. Anyway, that's interesting. There's a bug. I might report that to JustFlight about the beacon light not working. Unless it's modelling the failure, of course. I haven't noticed any failure modelling in it though. I didn't know it did anything like that. Or there's no breakers popped out, is there? Let's have a look. No, they're all in. The rotating beacon's there, look. Let's try cycling it and see if it does anything. No, it's not working. Unless I've missed something, and unless that hasn't got its own brightness, has it? No. Okay, so we need to be careful with these aircraft. The turbo aircraft, they can go incredibly fast. So we're doing 130 knots at the moment. We could push this out to maximum RPM. Well, we're going right on the red line there. It's interesting actually, it doesn't appear that you can overspeed the propeller. Not in level flight anyway. Oh, we have just look. So we'll pull that back a little bit. I'm not sure if it models failures if you continually run the propeller above maximum speed. So we've got 7 miles to go until we get to Bensu. So should we have a play with this vertical speed mode that's hidden in here? So if I roll the mouse here, let's watch the vertical speed needle. Yeah, I just did 1 click's worth of mouse wheel. 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are descending. And the sim is frozen, which is not great. Is it going to return us, or is it crashed? Whoa! There's an odd issue with this computer with the USB controller, so I'm just, obviously we're descending and accelerating as we descend. just pulling the propeller RPM back. So we're coming back down. So we wanted to be at about 1300 feet, didn't we, by the time we get to where we're going. You can see it's just coming up on the display. So what might be quite nice actually would be to go to OBS mode for the destination, which would give us the track, wouldn't it? If we do that, is he going to draw the line? I guess we'd have to turn this to the runway direction though. So we want 191 degrees on the course. Let's go for, yeah, let's put this back to heading mode and turn the heading that way. And let's go and change the course then to, what was it, 191 degrees, which is giving us the line on the GPS, which is good. Okay, so that's now projecting the runway direction, but it's doing it on Delbo. Okay, so we'd have to do that. We'd have to switch to the end of our route if we want that to play properly. So if we go do a direct to and do EGTK, press enter and enter, and then flight plan, and then do OBS, and now it's doing it, but it's got the direction wrong, hasn't it, on here? I think we've broken it. So it's doing the direct to course, isn't it? It's not doing the runway track. Okay, we won't worry too much. We're coming back down to 1300 feet though now, so we're as low as we want to get, and we're going to start turning, and we've got the overboosters come on. It's just edged on. Okay, so let's get the propeller RPM back up a little bit. Although we do want to lose some speed now, don't we? So turn across the track of the runway. So we can basically go manual now. So autopilot off. Let's get the RPM off as well, to lose some speed. How are we doing on the glide slope? It's looking okay, isn't it? And there's the runway. We're not losing speed though. Okay, here we go for flaps now. Center our view up so we can actually see what we're doing. The ILS didn't come on, did it? It didn't align. Maybe I've got the frequency wrong. So we've got 2 reds and 2 whites on the PAPI lights, so that's looking good. Oh, got a bit high there. Low, although you can't really trust the simulator. If you've watched 737NG on YouTube, he's looked at it in quite some detail. Whoa, not my best landing. I was going quite fast, wasn't I? Whoa, and this controller is still glitching. Did some unanticipated rallycross there on the runway at Oxford. But you get the idea. Most of the pilot operating handbooks say don't use the brakes unless you have to, so just let the airplane roll out, which we are doing, and we're just coming off the runway. It's quite a nice sweeping turn at the end of Oxford, around past the trees back towards the parking area. There's some nice static aircraft around. This is the Pilot Plus Oxford scenery. So if you know Oxford, the buildings around the airfield are absolutely perfect, you know, really good. And there's some odd aircraft around, like there's a Falcon and a few other bits and pieces that are parked up. Okay, so we take off our lights that we had on. You can see the modelling of the buildings. It's difficult to look one way and steer the other. The detail of the buildings at Oxford is really, really good. See, there's the tower up there. So should we go and park next to some of these business jets on the apron over here? Okay. Apparently there's a forklift is going to go for a flight soon. I wonder if it's the same one that was charging across the grass at Wycombe earlier. Okay, parking brake on. Pull the mixture, which will cut the engine off. And go and turn things off around the cockpit. So turn the magnetos off. Turn the alternator off, turn the batteries off, which will cut out the avionics. Okay, I think we're good to go. Obviously, a lot I haven't pointed out in this aircraft, similarly to all the others, all of the levers and stuff work, so you can operate the doors, which some people seem to have a hang-up about. If an aircraft doesn't have working doors, they don't like it. Well, this one works. So there you go. Oh, the storm window works as well. And it does influence the sound, although we didn't try it while we were in flight. So there we go. The JustFlight Turbo Arrow 3 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I bought it as part of a pack to get the price of it down, but it's actually really good value anyway. It's almost steady level. Like I said, it wins in some areas over other aircraft available and it loses in others, so it depends what you're after in the simulator really. You saw there's a couple of little bugs here and there, but I'm sure they'll update it soon. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll see you again soon.